Hey everyone, Spider-Man 1991 here, and I like to review comic books every week. Now this week, my stack of comics was probably the thickest it's been in a while, so I decided instead of making one really long review for the entire week, I would instead just break up my review for this week into two parts. One part that deals with the Image and Marvel comics that I bought, and the other part dealing with all the DC comics I bought. So right now, what you're watching is the part of the review that has the Image and Marvel comics. The other part with DC should be up shortly. There should be an annotation added somewhere in this area. But anyways, for now, please enjoy what I got this week from Image and Marvel. Although really, my Image stack is really just one book. First off, from Image, Invincible number 112. Pretty much continuing the story arc of Robot slowly taking over the world. Actually, it's not slowly. Everyone basically dies. It's like an episode of Game of Thrones in this issue is. Robot is just sending off his drones and he's killing almost every hero that you've ever seen in the Invincible universe. He is killing, it's no hold back with him. He's just eliminating anyone who could be a threat to him. But the real story of this issue though, it takes place on the whole Guardians of the Globe Earth satellite base, where Robot tries to talk to Monster Girl into joining him by referencing the time they spent in the Flaxine dimension, where temporarily they did take over, but then there was the whole rebellion, and of course Monster Girl had a son. But of course, after they talk about it and how Robot says he's probably going to do things differently, Amanda still refuses to join him. And because of that, Robot makes a difficult choice. And by difficult, I mean he pretty much has his drones take her away and throw her into the vacuum of space. Alright. So yeah, pretty much Invincible. I think the message of what Robert Kirkman is doing in this story arc is clear. Everything is going to change at the end of this. We don't know who's going to survive. So far there has been lots of death. Still, Invincible is, and that's the cool thing about Invincible, is that this is because this is sort of an independent superhero book. Death is actually kind of permanent with this in this case, so some of these hero characters that die could come back, but others are probably going to remain dead. So overall, I would say Invincible is very great. It's still very impressive, still very interesting. We have no idea what's going on with Mark and Eve after what happened to them last issue, but we'll probably get to that next issue. But right now this deals with, who our pretty much gets to the layers of our bad guy. In this case it's Robot. So I would say Invincible number 112, if you're really sick of, if you're not really into the whole current trend of most superhero books, well, this one is definitely different. Warning, there is a large amount of violence, so I would say Invincible number 112 is definitely a buy. Okay, next up, now it's time for Marvel with Amazing Spider-Man number 3. While searching for Electro, Spider-Man discovers a building that Electro was sleeping in that he actually set on fire because of his out-of-control powers. So Peter Parker changes into Spider-Man and goes to save people from a fire. And he also helps out MJ's current boyfriend, Ollie, who's also a firefighter. And they're able to save a bunch of people. Of course, right after they get the last person out of the building, though, Black Cat shows up and attacks Spider-Man, wanting revenge after what happened when she met the superior Spider-Man, Otto Octavius. And of course, Spider-Man tries to explain to her that it was a mind swap, but she doesn't care. She just wants revenge. So in order to get her to leave, Peter Parker briefly starts acting like Dr. Octopus when he was Spider-Man's, and that freaks her out for a little bit, and she decides to leave because they're in a collapsing building that's on fire. And with Black Cat gone, Spider-Man's able to get Ollie out of there, and also while Spider-Man's saving Ollie, Black Cat is able to steal the device that Peter Parker was using to track Electro, because he actually went to track Electro with some of the scientists from Parker Industries. So Black Cat steals the device, and then at the end of the issue, she goes and finds Electro and proposes a partnership between them. Alright, So I would say one of the funniest moments of this issue is when Peter Parker starts acting like Dr. Octopus as Spider-Man, because he even uses the line "the die is cast," which was hilarious, which was really hilarious. And also, Peter's still adjusting to his new life. At the beginning of the book, though, he does try to act like the fun boss. He shows up. Pretty much everyone else is stuck wearing that whole that whole classic mad scientist uniform that Doc Ock, I think, enforced at work, and Peter Parker shows up in like a Hawaiian shirt and shorts, saying, "Hey everyone, didn't you get my memo about casual Fridays and stuff?" Because Peter's now trying to be the fun boss, and if I know anything from not just comic books but TV shows, that usually doesn't end well. And in this case, it's really freaking out a lot of the workers at Parker Industries because they're starting to think that Peter is insane, and they might be right. And also, I think Black Cat not believing the whole mind swap explanation, I think that's also good, because it's about time we had someone who doesn't believe it. Because, you know, when Peter was coming back, his explanation to everyone, Mary Jane, the Avengers, was, "Oh hey, Doc Ock swapped brains with me," and everyone was just like, "Okay, yeah, that's understandable, we get it." I mean, yeah, the Avengers ran tests on him just to be sure, but it's good to see someone doesn't actually believe him. Oh yeah, also, one more thing I want to point out that does happen in this issue that I can't believe I left out the recap, but J. Jonah Jameson apparently gets an offer from a television show, a television news network, to have his own show. Which when I saw that in the comic, I immediately thought how they do J. Jonah Jameson on the Ultimate Spider-Man TV series, which is him broadcasting on New York constantly that Spider-Man is a menace, he must be stopped, and stuff like that. So yeah, overall, Amazing Spider-Man, really awesome series. Funny, Peter Parker's still adjusting to his life post Superior Spider-Man, and it's very funny, and it does have a lot of funny moments in it. Like I said, with Peter Parker trying to be the fun boss. So overall, Amazing Spider-Man, it's still a great series. Definitely a buy. Alright, next up we have Fantastic Four number 6. This does tie into Original Sin. Shortly after the trial of the Fantastic Four, Johnny Storm, Reed Richards, and Sue return to the Baxter Building, and they discover the Avengers guarding it. And apparently, what happened is that at first Reed thought they were just no longer welcomed in certain floors of the Baxter Building, but apparently now S.H.I.E.L.D. has pretty much banned them from going into the building completely. And also, Sue's still really messed up after losing custody of all the Future Foundation kids, and she has a big freak out when she gets back too. And meanwhile, at the S.H.I.E.L.D. base where all the Future Foundation kids are located, apparently the kids informed Jim Hammond, that the original Human Torch, who's sort of their I want to say sort of their chaperone right now. They informed him that some S.H.I.E.L.D. agents took away Dragon Man, and apparently they're going to shut him down, which will effectively kill him. And then and also, like I said, this does tie into Original Sin, because 2 days after all this is when the events of Original Sin number 3 took place, which was when the Watcher's Eye exploded and every hero saw certain sins that were kept secret from them. And in this case, Ben Grimm, he goes to confront Johnny Storm. He is furious at Johnny. Like, Johnny's like, "Dude, Ben, calm down, buddy." And Ben's just like, "You're not my friend." And he pretty much goes, "Why'd you lie to me all this time?" And we get a flashback that shows to like the earlier days of the Fantastic Four when they all wore the blue uniforms, and Johnny flies into Reed's lab. He looks into this pod that Reed built, sits in it for a few minutes, then gets out, slams the door in it, and Reed brings Ben in. And pretty much this was the early days, so Reed's still trying to cure Ben Grimm of being the Thing. And apparently, when Ben gets in the pod and he goes through the procedure, something goes wrong, because the machine starts to work, and Ben starts to turn back to his human form, which is a good thing. However, when they shut down the pod and Ben walks out, he suddenly starts to mutate into this sort of half Ben Grimm, half Thing type creature, which is really strange, and that's where the issue ends. Okay, so I think right now, and the cover obviously shows like Ben Grimm apparently beating Johnny Storm to death. I think obviously something Johnny did before he got into before Ben Reed entered the lab, and Johnny may have done something inadvertently to the pod, or maybe later they discover something went wrong, but Reed decides to keep it a secret. But Reed and Johnny decide to keep it a secret from Ben, and because also when Ben talks to Johnny, he also says that that Johnny and Reed lied to him. So I think that's something that we're going to deal with for the next couple of issues about what happens. Also, if you remember when at the start of this series that's currently written by James Robinson, we do see Ben Grimm being arrested. So I think what happens in this original Sin tie-in is going to affect the whole overall story arc that's going on in Fantastic Four right now, which is Ben Grimm getting arrested. So that's my theory on it. But right now, I'm currently not reading Original Sin, but I think it's good that James Robinson is able to use this event to help move the plot along in Fantastic Four. I think that's great. I think if you are reading Original Sin, that you should definitely check this book out, because this is one of the stories that's going to deal with one of the secrets that was revealed at the end of the Original Sin series. Okay, all right. Next up, I know this comic didn't come out this week, but I heard a couple of good things about it, and I did get the first story arc to it. I am currently checking out the series by trade volume. So right now, though, I only got this because I heard this is dealing with something that happened at the end of the first story arc, and the series, of course, I'm talking about is Nova number 18. Nova pretty much the issue opens up with Nova after building a memorial for a fallen Nova Corps with his family. Sam decides to go visit the Watcher on the moon. When he does, he discovers the place is broken into, and Nova, who's apparently formed a close friendship with the Watcher over the course of the series, finds the Watcher's dead body, and that really upsets him. And immediately Nova flies to Earth, tries to find the Avengers. Of course, when he lands in New York City, he discovers the Avengers and other superheroes fighting the Mindless Ones, which of course is going on in Original Sin number 3. And Nova joins the fight, and when he does, he's there at the same time that the Watcher's eye explodes, and Nova is shown memories of images of the past, which involve his father, Jesse Alexander, who was a member of the Nova Corps. And it shows Jesse, who at the start of the series we know is something called a Black Nova Corps member, but in this case, in the flashbacks, he's wearing the standard Nova Corps uniform. And basically what happens is we see Jesse fighting and then murdering another Nova Corps officer right in front of another one. And right when Sam wakes up, he's in shock about what he saw, because he's heard from like every single person that he's encountered since he became Nova that his dad was a good guy, he was apparently a hero, but now he's seeing like his dad do this very evil thing, and it really affects Sam that he just takes off his helmet immediately and declares that he never wants to wear this ever again. Okay. So yeah, at first, I decided to get Nova because I heard this one's dealing with Sam's dad, Jesse Alexander, and I did read the first story arc of the new Nova series, and it was very good. I liked it. The only problem was Jeff Loeb left after it, so I wasn't too sure about the rest of the series. But now I've heard some good things about Nova recently, so I decided to check out this series for Original Sin, which again is ironic because I'm not reading the actual event. So basically this issue is very interesting because it does deal with Sam's dad, and also Sam did discover that his dad was alive because the Watcher told him. Unfortunately, though, and of course Sam was really excited, like, yeah, my dad's alive, this is great. But now he's seeing these images of the past where his dad pretty much just straight up murders another member of the Nova Corps, and he's just like, wait, why did my dad do this? This doesn't make any sense. This goes against everything I've heard about my dad. So, and it really freaks Sam out to the point that he doesn't want to wear wear the Nova Corps helmet anymore. So yeah, obviously Sam isn't going to give up being Nova. So for the next couple of issues, Sam's going to have to try to interpret what these memories mean and what exactly happened, what his dad did. So yeah, it looks very interesting. And also it does look very interesting. I think anyone who's read any of the previous Nova storylines should definitely check this series out. It's great. I think it's gonna be some great character development for Sam, because ever since the first Nova story arc, he has had the Watcher sort of mentor him, but now this is pretty much the beginning where Sam's not going to have the Watcher anymore. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with him. Also, again, the stuff with his dad. So overall, I think if you've read any of the Nova Sam Alexander stories, any of the previous stories, then you should definitely check out the original Sin story arc going on right now. Okay, next up, last comic, Uncanny Avengers number 21. Thanks to time travel, the Uncanny Avengers are able to rethink their plan and defeat the Apocalypse Twins by basically having Rogue absorb the power of every single hero, not just the X-Men, but also every Avenger. And she's able to absorb all their power so that she can basically stall the Celestial Executioner, which is about to destroy Earth, while Thor basically uses his mystic axe, Yaborn. Am I saying that right? Yarnbjorn. Yeah, it's Norwegian. So Thor's able, which buys Thor enough time to use his axe to basically slit the Celestial's throat and kill it. However, right after Thor kills it, Kang shows up, basically and then basically has the Deathlock Abomination that's working for Kang get rid of Thor, so that Kang can basically absorb some of the Celestial's blood and thus gain omnipotent powers. Okay, well, all I can say is it's good that we're finally, this story arc is almost over. So yeah, right now, which I'm glad. I'm seriously glad that we're starting to get to the end of this. Really, this has been a really, I'll just say that this whole Apocalypse Twins story arc that we've been going through has been kind of a mixed bag, mainly because of time travel. I feel like some stories, now not all time travel stories are bad, it's only if it's done right. In this case, it's been a little messed up, because Kang at first because Kang, obviously, he's master of time travel, one of the Marvel Universe's biggest time travel villains. He's always had an ulterior motive. And in this case, we first thought that Kang only wanted to help the Uncanny Avengers to just ensure Earth's survival, because he's basically conqueror of Earth. However, Kang's real ulterior motive was to gain the omnipotent power of a Celestial. So yeah, all I can say is I'm glad the story is progressing finally, but for everyone else, you're better off probably just waiting for this to come out in trade. Also, I'm really hoping that when this story arc is done, we can finally get back to the original concept of the book, because I really would like to see more of the Red Skull in this issue, because I get the feeling he's going to be the main antagonist that Rick Remender is going to have the Uncanny Avengers go up against. And I really think that right now this whole Apocalypse Twins story arc was just basically killing time until Marvel would release Rick Remender's Axis event. Because if you've seen the teasers, you see that the Red Skull, who's apparently in his Onslaught armor, is going to play a big significant role in this. And I think that's basically what Rick Remender was trying to lead up to with Uncanny Avengers. So overall, I would say Uncanny Avengers, for the Apocalypse Twins story arc, just probably get the trade. And I think it's probably going to be more than one. So get the first one, see how you like it before deciding if you want to get the next one. But otherwise, you can just skip it. Okay, so that's it for all my Marvel and Image books this week. Thank you again for watching. The DC review should be up on my channel shortly after this. I'll probably add once it is, I'll probably add an annotation in this video somewhere, so you can click on it, go watch it immediately afterwards. Again, thank you for watching. Thank you for checking out my channel. I'm Spider-Man 1991, saying see you later.